You are here today because something within you has grown tired of ignoring what has been quietly calling for your attention. There are moments in life when coincidence no longer explains why certain words arrive exactly when the heart feels most unsteady. This is one of those moments. You have been standing at an inner crossroads, sensing that something important is unfolding, even if you could not yet give it a name. What you are receiving now is not meant to convince you, but to resonate with something you already recognize. It reaches the part of you that has been listening in silence, waiting for permission to trust what it has always known. There are decisive moments when the heart hesitates, not because it lacks clarity, but because the truth feels too powerful to accept without consequence. Deep within you, in that private place untouched by fear or logic, the answer has existed for a long time. You felt it in subtle waves of knowing, in pauses between thoughts, in the quiet ache that never fully disappeared. What you are encountering now is not information, nor comforting fantasy. It is an energetic reply to questions you have been asking the universe in solitude, during nights when sleep felt distant and your thoughts circled the same presence again and again. You have felt a connection that refuses to fit into rational explanations, something that does not obey timing, distance, or reason. It showed itself as a magnetic pull, a familiarity that made no sense yet felt unmistakably real. At times, you tried to dismiss it as imagination, as longing born from loneliness or unmet needs. You questioned your own perception, wondering whether your mind had created something that was never truly there. But the truth is quieter and stronger than doubt. That electric sensation, that sense of recognition when you think of this person, is not accidental or imagined. What you have experienced carries consistency, depth, and repetition that illusion cannot sustain. Signs have appeared in ways that were easy to overlook but impossible to erase completely. You may have hesitated to accept them because acceptance would require vulnerability, and vulnerability once brought you pain. Still, the universe does not communicate through force. It speaks through patterns, through inner shifts, through moments that linger longer than they should. Today, you are being asked to understand why this person's love exists even when their actions seem contradictory, and why your inner certainty has never truly left you. It does not matter if you have felt a strange emptiness recently or noticed distance growing where warmth once lived. Silence does not always mean absence. Sometimes silence is a container, holding emotions too intense to be expressed prematurely. When a connection is real at the level of the soul, recognition happens internally before it ever becomes visible externally. Your inner being has already responded. That is why you are still here, still listening, still searching for confirmation that goes beyond ordinary reassurance. What you seek is resonance, not persuasion. You have tried to analyze these feelings, to categorize them, to decide whether they are healthy or rational. But some experiences are not meant to be processed by logic alone. They are meant to be lived through awareness. What you are feeling is not confusion, nor obsession, nor emotional weakness. It is the natural response to a connection that exceeds ordinary emotional frameworks. This kind of bond challenges comfort, dissolves old identities, and asks you to grow beyond familiar limits. It is not meant to be easy, but it is meant to be transformative. Your doubts do not come from a lack of love on the other side. They originate from wounds that existed long before this connection appeared. When someone enters your life carrying a depth that mirrors your own, unresolved pain rises to the surface. The soul recognizes what is important immediately, but the mind resists what threatens its defenses. That is why you questioned yourself late at night, wondering if you were imagining meaning where none existed. And yet, each attempt to walk away was met with a gentle, persistent pull back toward the same truth. This pull is not weakness, dependence, or pride. It is alignment, Two energies responding to each other without permission from logic or circumstance. You asked for signs, and they came quietly. A glance that lingered then withdrew. A message that carried more feeling than words admitted. A shift in your energy whenever this person crossed your thoughts. True love rooted in spiritual recognition often speaks first through silence. And today, you are being asked to see that this love did not destabilize you to harm you, but to awaken parts of you that were waiting to be remembered. I know that there was a moment, maybe very recently, when you truly believed this person was slipping away for good. Their silence felt final, their distance felt like a verdict, and your heart translated that absence into rejection. In those moments, the mind is quick to conclude that love has ended, that interest has faded, and that hope was misplaced. But the universe does not guide someone this far along a path only to abandon them with confusion as the final lesson. Connections that are guided by something higher do not dissolve because of temporary silence or misunderstanding. What is truly meant does not collapse under doubt, distance, or fear, even when everything feels uncertain. When a bond is written beyond logic, it remains intact even in the spaces where communication disappears. It survives unanswered messages, long pauses, and moments when your human side begins to panic and search for explanations. Destiny does not require constant reassurance to exist. It holds its form even when you question everything, even when your thoughts spiral into worst-case scenarios. That is why this connection has not disappeared, no matter how much you feared it might. But this leads to the deeper question you have been asking yourself in silence. If this is real, why does it feel so chaotic inside you? Why does certainty coexist with confusion in the same breath? The answer has never been outside of you. It lives in the quiet internal conflict now unfolding between your logical mind and your deeper knowing. This confusion is not a sign of falsehood, but of transformation. You are standing on one of humanity's oldest inner battlefields, the place where ego and true self collide. Your mind, trained to categorize, predict, and protect, has encountered something that does not fit its rules. This love does not resemble the stories you learned, the patterns you memorized, or the defenses you built. Because it cannot be categorized, the mind reacts with doubt, fear, and mental noise. Your ego was formed to keep you safe, not fulfilled. It is shaped by past wounds, disappointments, and moments when opening your heart led to pain. When this connection entered your life, the ego perceived danger, not because something was wrong, but because something was real. True love demands vulnerability without guarantees. It asks you to remove armor you once needed to survive. To the ego, this feels reckless. It whispers warnings disguised as logic, insisting this is too intense, too sudden, too good to last. It urges you to retreat, detach, or sabotage before you can be hurt again. From this point forward, your task is to learn discernment between voices within you. The ego is loud, urgent, and restless. It speaks in fear and scarcity. It tightens your chest, knots your stomach, and drives compulsive behaviors like checking your phone or replaying conversations. It creates rules that say love must prove itself constantly or it is not real. Intuition, on the other hand, is quiet and steady. It does not rush. It does not beg. It feels like a calm presence beneath the chaos, a soft certainty that remains even when circumstances look uncertain. Even when your mind insists that this person is absent or withdrawing, intuition holds a deeper truth. It does not deny reality, but it understands timing. It whispers reassurance instead of panic. This calm is not denial or fantasy. It is alignment. That peace you sometimes feel beneath the doubt is not random. It is the clearest evidence that what you are experiencing is real and purposeful. When you touch that peace, you are not imagining anything. You are resonating with truth beyond fear. The confusion exists only because you are in transition between old survival patterns and new awareness. Your emotional history plays a powerful role here. If you were once abandoned, betrayed, or made to feel disposable, your ego learned to expect loss. It projects those memories onto the present, assuming history must repeat itself. So when silence appears, the ego does not see neutrality. It sees danger. You are not questioning this person's capacity to love. You are questioning your own capacity to endure a love this deep without losing yourself. That fear does not mean you are weak. It means this love has reached a depth that demands growth rather than comfort. This is why the universe placed this connection in your life now, not simply to give you affection, but to force you to confront what still limits you. This love is not here to fit neatly into your old expectations. It is here to expand you, to dismantle beliefs that told you to accept less, to prepare you for emotional abundance rather than survival. Each wave of doubt is an invitation to heal something unresolved. When fear rises, it is not proof that love is disappearing. It is proof that an old wound has surfaced, asking for resolution instead of suppression. If you react with panic, the wound deepens. If you meet it with awareness and calm, it loses its grip. That is the alchemy happening now. This connection acts as a catalyst, clearing emotional debris and teaching you to trust without control. And no matter how many times you try to pull away, you already know the truth. Something within you always returns, not out of need, but recognition. This pull is not a chain, it is resonance. Two energies aligned so deeply that distance cannot erase them. Yet one question still lingers in your mind. If the connection is this powerful, why does the other person seem distant or silent? The answer lies in the nature of this bond itself. When two intense energies meet, both are shaken. This person is not merely a partner, they are your mirror. Their presence activated your wounds just as yours activated theirs. The intensity is overwhelming for the human mind, which craves control and predictability. Silence in this dynamic is not absence of feeling. It is the mind's response to something too vast to process all at once. The distance you are witnessing is not rejection, even though your mind desperately wants to label it that way. It is a form of self-protection, a reflexive response to the emotional and energetic intensity that your presence awakens in their heart. In this spiritual dynamic, this is often described as the dance between the runner and the chaser. The runner is not escaping you. They are retreating from the overwhelming depth of what they feel and from the version of themselves that is being summoned by this connection. The love they feel is not shallow or casual. It is vast, consuming, and therefore frightening to someone who once learned that vulnerability leads to loss. The fear driving their withdrawal is layered and complex. Fear of not being enough for you, fear of damaging something sacred through their own imperfections, fear of losing control over their carefully constructed identity. At its core, it is fear of surrender. Old wounds of abandonment or rejection are being reactivated, wounds that once forced them to make a silent vow never to open themselves fully again. When you appeared, that vow was threatened. Silence then becomes a pause rather than an ending. A moment of retreat meant to regain emotional balance while their inner world reorganizes around the truth they cannot unfeel. Your role in this dynamic often mirrors the opposite polarity. When distance appears, your ego reacts with urgency. Panic rises, and with it the impulse to reach out, clarify, explain, or prove your value. Even if this chasing happens only energetically, the effect is the same. The more you lean forward, the more the other feels compelled to pull back. It is not cruelty, it is energetic pressure. Like a stretched elastic cord, the harder you pull, the stronger the resistance becomes. This is where one of the most challenging spiritual principles enters your life, the law of detachment. Detachment is not indifference, it is trust. The universe never asks you to suffer passively, but it does ask you to redirect your focus. This waiting period is not empty time. It is sacred space meant for centering, healing, and remembering who you are beyond longing. The runner can only return when they feel, on an energetic level, that you are whole without them. As long as they sense need, fear, or expectation, they will retreat. But when you shift your energy inward and begin to nourish your own light, the pressure dissolves and their instinct to run weakens. This separation is not a punishment. It is alignment. Each of you has been pulled back temporarily so that individual healing can occur. The source itself is at work here, dissolving fears, closing old wounds, and organizing what currently feels like chaos. This ensures that reunion, when it happens, is not born from lack, attachment, or fear, but from maturity and abundance. When you focus on your growth and inner peace, you energetically release the cord of fear. You communicate trust to the universe, and what belongs to you responds not to force, but to resonance. Distance has no power to destroy what destiny intends to unite. In truth, time and space refine the connection. Like metal placed in fire, the process appears destructive, but only burns away impurities. What remains is stronger, purer, and unbreakable. Twin flame or mirror soul connections are nourished by truth. And the truth is, this person cannot escape the resonance of your soul, no matter how far they retreat physically. This distance becomes an act of faith in yourself, in timing, and in the love orchestrated beyond human control. If you still feel this person in your energy despite the absence of calls or messages, it is because love does not require constant expression to exist. Silence can carry presence. Synchronicities are the universe's language, gentle confirmations that your intuition is accurate. The mind craves proof because it fears uncertainty, but the universe provides evidence through alignment, repetition, and symbolic reminders. These signs are not random. They are coordinated responses to the energetic bond between you. One of the clearest confirmations is the effect you have on this person. You activate their emotional system in ways no one else does. Your presence brings either profound peace or intense restlessness because you touch both their truth and their wounds. Their inconsistent behavior is not confusion about you, it is confusion about themselves in your presence. True love often reveals itself without words. It appears in lingering glances, in silence that feels full rather than empty, in an unconscious search for your energy even in crowded rooms. Notice the details: eyes that linger too long, attention that drifts back to you without intention, silences that feel intimate rather than awkward. These are not coincidences, they are soul signals. And beyond behavior, there is synchronicity and emotional telepathy. Songs, symbols, scents, moments that pull you back to them unexpectedly. These are reminders that separation is physical, not energetic. Emotional telepathy manifests as sudden waves of feeling that later align with their experiences. Energy knows no distance. Your souls remain in dialogue even when words fall away. The bond between you is never dormant. It is constantly vibrating, exchanging information, emotions, and inner movements in real time, even when no words are spoken. What you feel in your chest, the sudden pressure, the warmth, the unexpected calm, is often not originating from you alone. It is an energetic echo of what the other person is experiencing in that very moment. Souls connected at this level do not need language to communicate. They respond instinctively. This is why your emotions sometimes shift without a visible cause. Your inner state is responding to a signal carried through the shared frequency of the bond, reminding you that separation is only physical, never energetic. One of the strongest confirmations for your soul appears in the realm of dreams. Many people connected at this depth experience vivid or lucid encounters during sleep. You may wake up with the strange certainty that you truly spent time together, spoke, or shared presence. These dreams feel different from ordinary ones. They carry weight, clarity, and emotional residue that lingers long after waking. This is because in the dream state, the ego's defenses are quiet. Fear and doubt dissolve, allowing the souls to meet freely. These are not fantasies. They are authentic soul encounters that bring reassurance, alignment, and confirmation. Another powerful sign is waking suddenly at mirror times like 03:33 or 04:44, or waking with their name clearly in your mind. This happens when the energetic impulse from their thoughts reaches you with unusual intensity. The soul responds by waking the body so awareness can register the connection. This is not obsession, nor is it anxiety. It is resonance. Your soul is alerting you that you are actively present in the other person's consciousness. The bond does not pause when the world sleeps. It follows you into rest, into dreams, into stillness, reinforcing that the connection is alive and mutual. Your task during this phase is to stop dismissing these experiences as coincidence. The universe speaks subtly, not loudly. When you ignore the signs, you create resistance. When you acknowledge them, you align. This love is so real that it activates universal principles like attraction and telepathy to reassure you. You are not chasing anyone. You are vibrating with a frequency that already exists. You are not pursuing an illusion. You are experiencing the gradual manifestation of a connection that was established long before logic had a voice. Now that ego-based doubt is beginning to dissolve and the silent proofs have been recognized, the focus shifts inward. Doubt and fear are energetic blocks. Each time you doubt, you emit lack and delay the unfolding of what is already forming. Trust, on the other hand, accelerates alignment. This is why conscious intention matters. Not rituals, not force, but clarity. When you declare trust from the heart, you synchronize with what is destined. You signal to the universe that you have understood the lesson and are ready to receive without resistance. Release the need to control how and when this person returns. Control is fear disguised as protection. Trust is surrender without loss. When you consciously affirm, "I accept and trust the alignment of the universe," you remove pressure from the connection. You stop gripping and start allowing. In that moment, energy begins to flow naturally again. Doubt loosens its hold. Certainty settles in quietly. This is not the end of the process, but the beginning of the next phase. Conscious preparation for a love that transforms rather than consumes. A connection of this intensity is never meant to simply comfort you. It exists to elevate you. The universe does not unite powerful bonds in states of imbalance. This period of distance is refinement. Like two mirrors being polished separately, both souls are being cleared so that their shared reflection can later be undistorted. On your side, this love has forced self-awareness. Each fear that arises gives you the chance to choose certainty. Each urge to act gives you the option to choose peace and self-worth. You are learning to stop emitting lack. Before, you may have unconsciously expected this person to complete you. Now, you are learning to complete yourself, to become your own source of light. In doing so, you shift from neediness to magnetism. You are being shaped to receive a stable, mature love that does not fracture under vulnerability. And the person who eventually returns will not be the same one who left. They will be more aware, more grounded, and more capable of holding the depth of this bond. At the same time, they are undergoing their own transformation. Often unconsciously, they are being guided to confront their fears, dissolve old patterns, and release limiting beliefs. The universe is preparing them to meet you without running. When the healing on both sides reaches completion, the reunion will not be forced. It will happen naturally, without effort or strategy. When you meet again, it will feel as though no time has passed, yet everything will be different. Then you will understand why the silence, the waiting, and the distance were necessary. What felt like separation was alignment. What felt like loss was preparation. Love was never taken from you. It was reshaped so it could return stronger, deeper, and enduring. One day, you will no longer search for signs because reality itself will confirm everything. Peace will replace fear. Trust will replace doubt. And you will realize that what you thought was gone had been with you all along, patiently waiting until you were ready to receive it fully. What you are moving through now is the quiet integration phase, the period where understanding sinks beneath the surface and begins to rewire how you perceive love, absence, and yourself. This stage is subtle, yet it is where the deepest transformation occurs. Nothing dramatic seems to happen on the outside, but internally, your nervous system is learning a new language. You are learning how it feels to remain open without grasping, to trust without demanding proof, and to love without shrinking yourself. This recalibration is essential because the love you are preparing to receive cannot coexist with constant fear. It requires emotional steadiness and self-anchoring that can only be developed in stillness. During this time, you may notice that your emotional reactions soften. Situations that once triggered panic now pass through you more gently. This is not because you care less, but because you are no longer anchored to survival responses. You are stepping out of old emotional reflexes and into conscious choice. You are beginning to understand that love does not need to be chased to remain alive. It breathes on its own. This realization changes how energy moves between you and the other person. As you release urgency, the connection becomes cleaner, less distorted by fear, and more aligned with truth. You may also notice moments where you feel deeply connected without sadness attached. These are important markers. They show that your attachment is transforming into resonance. Attachment clings because it fears loss. Resonance remains because it knows connection cannot be severed by distance. This is why your love is becoming quieter but stronger. It no longer screams for validation. It rests, and in that resting state, it becomes powerful. The universe responds more quickly to calm certainty than to emotional desperation. What feels like waiting is actually energetic alignment catching up to your growth.